Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Max AC channel. It's been fun making drink recipes for the past couple of months, but I am missing making food. So for this month of recipes, since August continues to remain the most popular birth month, we'll be doing our fourth round of August Appetizers, where we'll be making 4 more different types of appetizers for you to make for any statistically likely party you will be having this month. For this episode, we will be making some Heirloom Tomato Pesto Tarts. For this recipe, you'll need 1 sheet of puff pastry. You can make this yourself, but I recommend using store-bought. You will also need 3 to 4 tablespoons of basil pesto, 2 to 3 medium heirloom tomatoes, 4 ounces of fresh mozzarella or burrata, 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of water for an optional egg wash, some salt and pepper, some fresh basil leaves, some olive oil, and a 1/4 cup of balsamic glaze, which you can make with 1/2 cup of balsamic vinegar. This will make about 6 to 9 tarts, so just as needed. First, we'll preheat the oven, so set it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. While we wait for that, we'll prepare the ingredients. So if you're using store-bought puff pastry, make sure to defrost it before using. Then for your tomatoes, slice these up into rounds. Also prepare your baking sheet by lining it with some parchment paper at this time as well. Once your puff pastry is defrosted, unfold it and then cut it into 6 to 9 rectangles or squares, and then place them on the prepared baking sheet. Next, lightly score a border about 1/2 inch or so from the edge of each piece, but make sure you don't cut all the way through. Then for the egg wash, mix together the egg and water in a small bowl, and then brush the borders with egg wash if desired. Next, spread a thin layer of pesto inside the scored border of each pastry, then top each with a few slices of heirloom tomatoes and some torn mozzarella or burrata, and season this lightly with salt and pepper. Once your tarts are ready and your oven is preheated, bake them for 15 to 20 minutes until the pastry is deeply golden and puffed and the cheese is melted. While the tarts bake, we'll make the balsamic glaze. So in a saucepan over medium heat, add the balsamic vinegar and bring it to a gentle simmer, and cook this, stirring occasionally until it reduces by about half and becomes thick and syrupy, about 8 to 10 minutes. Then remove it from the heat and let it cool slightly. The sauce thickens more as it cools, so try to err on the side of slightly runny. Once your tarts are fully baked, take them out of the oven and let them cool for a couple minutes. While you wait, cut some fresh basil leaves into thin ribbons. Then finish your tarts with the fresh basil leaves, a light drizzle of olive oil, and a drizzle of the balsamic glaze. And with that, your heirloom tomato pesto tarts are ready to eat. For this week's appetizer, I was wanting to make use of the other puff pastry dough I had from last week's recipe, and I realized I hadn't actually made another recipe using puff pastry before this past one. And with summer coming to a close, I wanted to highlight a recipe using some fresh ingredients of the season. So I thought I'd make these fresh and savory heirloom tomato pesto tarts. These heirloom tomato pesto tarts are a simple way to show off good summer tomatoes without a lot of extra work. The puff pastry gives you a flaky golden base, the pesto adds a bright herbal note, and a quick homemade balsamic glaze ties everything together with a little sweetness and tang. I recommend using heirloom tomatoes over other types of tomatoes for this particular recipe because they tend to have better flavor and a wider range of colors, which makes the tarts look more interesting and taste a bit brighter. But you are of course welcome to use whatever tomatoes you have available. The classic combination of tomato, mozzarella, and basil is one that I come back to over and over again for its simplicity as well as its mix of bright, clean flavors. So if you're looking for another recipe with these 3 ingredients, I recommend checking out the caprese salad or the bruschetta recipe I've made before. But back to this recipe, there are plenty of easy variations to try if you want something different from the classic caprese mix. You could swap the mozzarella for goat cheese or feta, or add a little prosciutto or salami for a more savory tart, or you can even substitute the pesto for tomato sauce to make a more pizza-style tart instead. But regardless of how you customize them, these tarts are a simple, fresh way to use up some ripe tomatoes and turn a sheet of leftover puff pastry into something that tastes of the last few weeks of summer. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know how it went, if you decided to make it, and let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything you want to make next. Like this video, share with your friends and family, and subscribe to or follow this channel for more episodes of the Max AC channel. And remember, if you want to stay cool in the kitchen, turn your AC to the max and watch the Max AC channel. And a drizzle of the balsamic glaze. So try to err on the side of slightly runny. Oops.